Well, my project for this morning, Monday morning, day after Mother's Day, is to put on a new carburetor. Maybe I'll go ahead and show you. I'll go ahead and try to start it. If it does start, you'll see how it runs, which is not very good. Now to start this, you have to have the key on, pull on the brake handle, and I can already tell you right now it's not going to start because the kickstand's down. You can't have the kickstand down. There's this kill switch in there. Oh, I don't have the kickstand down. I have it up on the rear mount, so we should be good. Well, there you have it. It doesn't want to start. It actually started right away at first, but I just don't think it's getting gas like it's supposed to. The carburetor was really dirty. I cleaned it, but you know, there's a lot of little places for junk to get stuck. So I think it was 25 bucks. I got a new carburetor, so I'm going to dismantle this baby, put the new carburetor on. It's going to take a while because there's a lot of stuff you have to take off, but I'll kind of walk you through it in case you have to do this. Probably similar on a lot of other scooters, I'm not sure. Some of the tools I'll be using. I've got my drill. It's a little bit ratcheting, so I can impact. Works good. You can put a 1/4 inch or 3/8 inch drive in it. I've got my 90-degree chemo for those hard to reach places. A flat screwdriver, a big Phillips screwdriver, a pick, and just kind of a regular Phillips screwdriver. Got my socket set out. The only one I can remember off the top of my head is a 10mm. You could use a 3/8 drive or the 1/4 inch drive, wherever it is here. There. So, first thing I'm going to do is take these side covers off. Those are Phillips screws, 3 on each side. One in this corner, one down there, one up here. Now this one, harder to get to, but you can get to it kinda. But since I'm going to take all this off, I'm going to go ahead and take this rack off of here. And that's a 10mm. There's 4 bolts, 2 on each side. So let me get started. Also, I'm going to take the seat off. There's a couple 10mm bolts, one there, one there. That gets the seat out of your way. And then you got to take bolts here and here, and there's a couple brackets that go on there. And then this will pull out of there. You have to separate the plastic frame around here to get the storage out of there. So I'll get to it. Hopefully you guys can see okay. First thing is the 10mm. There's 2 lengths of bolts. This long one goes in the front. I've got this magnetic tray so I can throw everything in there. Get that out of the way. Now we can get to these Phillips. They're pretty short, maybe a 1/2 inch long at the most. There goes one. Oh, look at that. Perfect catch. Might have to go right there. Something else you might want to have is a magnet. I've got this little magnet, but I noticed some of these nuts, bolts, screws, whatever, aren't magnetic. And that'd be one of them. Why couldn't it just fall on the ground? And when you take this off, it just lifts up. Come on. There we go. It's got some little brackets on the back to hold it in place. Get that out of the way. Now to the other side. Well, I left the screw out of that one. I think I had a leftover screw and I was wondering where it went. Or I was short a screw. I can't remember. Let's get that seat off of there. I'm gonna grab an extension. It's just a bit of a reach in there. It's just a small nut. Now there's 4 more 10mm bolts. And they've got these brackets that go on there. I just had this apart a few days ago, so it's coming apart pretty easy. I'm going to move this over just a little bit so I don't keep thumping my head on this bracket. I got this awning used. It works real good, give you some shade, but I didn't mount it high enough, so I keep cracking my head on that bar right there. So I'm going to move the motorcycle just a little bit. Okay, maybe I won't hit my head so often. We'll see. Okay, there's a few Phillips screwdrivers on the side. Phillips screws, not drivers. If I remember, I'm going to have to take the part out in the front here. This front cover, it's got a couple screws in it. And then These are kind of snapped together right here, so you can pull them apart once you get the screws out. Come on, baby. And that kind of leans back. You can take a couple more screws or bolts out, take that whole thing, lay it to the side. Let me get that front cover off. It's got screws at the bottom. This just has some little nipples sticking out, snaps into place. There's a couple screws down there. Come on. I'll grab a pick so I can pull that out of there. Come on. There's a couple screws at the bottom too. Well, as you can see now, the front's all clear. The carburetor's right down here. I'm going to go ahead and pull that storage part out of there. Well, I know I'm forgetting something, but I don't remember what it is. Let me look at that a little closer. I forgot there's two 10mm bolts inside. Now I think it'll come out. All right, now we have access. Get you zoomed in there. We have access to the carburetor. Now the first thing you want to do is take off the air box, and that's got a couple, 2 or 3 Phillips screwdrivers. Dang, Phillips screws. And then there's a clamp that connects it to the carburetor. You gotta loosen that up too. So let me grab my knee pad and we'll take those off. Get you down here a little closer and hopefully you can see what I'm doing. I think this is where the big screwdriver comes in because of these these big screws. There's one. Oh, actually, those are the ones that hold it together. And I'm missing one right there. Always manage to forget something on every project. So you can take the filter out right here. Take that center screw out. There's the filter. Then there's one down here for the air box. The first time I took all these screws out because I didn't know how it went together, but these 3 screws just hold the air box together. Come on. Okay, I think there's another one down here someplace. Then I'll show you where this clamp is holding the box to the air carburetor. So this is your air box, here's your carburetor. And there is a clamp right here, the Phillips screw. You loosen that up to take this air box out of there. And then there's a couple nuts on bolts. There's one right there you can see, one down underneath. Now you don't have to take that off, you can just loosen up this clamp and pull the carburetor out of here. But this came with a new one, so I'll probably put that on there. And then you've got to take this hose off. There's a little clamp. This is your fuel line. Now what I did before is I pulled my fuel line off up here and I put a plastic cap off of something like a caulk tube or something to plug that up so fuel's not just running. That sealed that off pretty good. Then once you get this loose, you've got to rotate your throttle, get your cables off here. There's a little pin that slides in there on the cable on top and bottom. And when you put it together, just want to make sure you put it together right. So let's see, what else is there? There's a clamp here on a tube, it's got to come off. Fuel line, that. I think that's about it. So let me see if I can finish getting this box off here and we'll go from there. Get this hose on. Okay, get that out of the way. I think I'm going to take that fuel line off and clamp it and just let it hang there. I watched a helpful hint the other day. You put a couple of sockets on your needle nose pliers or vice grips, and then you can clamp down on the rubber hose without marring it all up. So let me grab a couple. I accidentally hit the stop button instead of the pause button. Get yourself some needle nose vice grips, put a couple sockets on there, and you can clamp off that fuel line. Well, let's see. Alright, come on. Well, it works pretty good. First I had to get the clamp off the fuel line. Now I got the fuel line off. It's not leaking fuel all over the place. Now I'm going to take the clamp off for just a second to make sure I'm actually getting fuel to the carburetor, that nothing like the fuel pump or anything's plugged up. So let me grab something to put that in. Well, I found a Gatorade or Powerade bottle out of my truck that's empty. Yeah, it's definitely getting fuel. So it's not starved for fuel. I think the carburetor's just plugged up. Come on off of there. Holding you up. I didn't think I had to take these off, but maybe I did. Aha! That should come out of there. And again, maybe not. So there's another screw underneath here. So that makes 1, 2, 3, 4 to hold that together. And this screw, there it goes. Sure, lose the washer. That's it. Magnet, magnet. I got the washer. Put that back on. Okay, so now I have easy access to the carburetor. I'm just going to take out those two bolts, or take the two nuts off that hold that whole thing on there. Then I can twist it and get the throttle cables off of there. $10 millimeters again. Sure. Oh. I'll get you in there close, show you what I'm going to do. I think it's 10 millimeters, but I could be wrong. But there's a nut here and a nut here. You need to loosen those nuts, and then these cables will slip right out of this bracket. This one will come up, this one will go down, and then you get this cable out of this track and that'll pull out of there. You may have to pry it just a little bit, but that's how you get these cables loose. And then I tried to get this off the carburetor, but it doesn't come off. You have to unconnect this clip right here on the wiring harness, push on that tab, pull it apart, and then should be about ready to pull that carburetor out of there. So let me get that done. I don't know if I can make it so you can see it. I'll try. So these are 10 millimeters. I already broke that one loose. Just take that baby off of there, it won't go anywhere. Loosen that one up. So now you pull this up and it'll come out of that bracket. Then you can run it around the carburetor. Might have to go one way or another. Let's see. I think, well, hard on my back. Let's get this thing undone. There, that's loose. Take this tie off of here. One of these has got to come off of there. There we go. There, it's off. Now this one needs to come out of there. I'm going to use the pick to pull it up out of there maybe. Come on, baby. There. Okay, what's holding the carburetor now? We got a vent tube here and one here, so I'll take those off. There's a couple of little clamps you got to take off. Oh yeah, there's two wires that go over here. They have two different kinds of clips, but they just pull off. There. And we'll take all these extra tubes off. Come on. We've been off one. comes off. Get the clamp off. Well, I'm going to struggle with those. So, just needless to say, you got to get these clamps off and then pull those hoses off. I'm going to try my needle nose pliers and see if that'll work. Well, the carburetor's off. Those two hoses were kind of a bugger. Where are they? This one did not want to come off. It ended up breaking right there. So I'll trim up the old hose, put it on the new carburetor. This one wasn't too bad, just had to get the clamp off of it. And now I'll have to transfer whatever needs to be transferred, these hoses I guess. Not sure what all goes onto the new carburetor. We're going to find out. I'll get it out of the box and compare them. Well, it's the first time I've had to really look at the carburetor side by side, and it's not going to work. This one has a bracket for the two cables. This one has no bracket, and it's only made for one cable. It goes in there. And maybe a person could make that work. I'm not sure. What else is different? These are the opposite. This clamp on the old ones down here, the two bolt holes are like this. The bolt holes are opposite. Maybe there's holes there. I could pivot that. Let me see. Nope. Can't even flip that around. This one's got two hoses here. This one doesn't. This one has a hose here. That one has a hose there. This part looks about the same. It's got two wires in there. Two clips in there. Let's see. Throttle body part bolts onto here. Can't really see it. Maybe I have to take, no, that's the bolt holes. It's hard to see, but it doesn't have the vent tube here, or this one here. Oh, I guess it's got one of them. That one. Yeah, that's not gonna work. It says it's compatible, but I don't see how that's possible. I don't know if a person could take this off, switch it with that, but this part's different. Oh yeah, it doesn't have this accelerator pump or whatever it is there. Well, that's going back to Amazon. I'll have to look at, now that I have this off, I'll have to look at it better when I order a new one. Maybe I'll have to get it from Yamaha. I may go ahead and take this apart and try to clean it more. Maybe that'll do it. I don't know, but so much for swapping carburetors today. Well, thanks for watching. I'll continue this video when I figure out whether cleaning the carburetor again or replacing it is going to work. Well, it's running. I took the carburetor off, as you know. I cleaned it as good as I could possibly clean it. I found a few places I hadn't tried to clean before. I put it back on there and it didn't seem like it was getting fuel. I checked everything and the fuel pump was working. I disconnected the fuel line here, and when I tried to start it, fuel was pumping out. I thought, well, maybe the float is just stuck from not being used. So I hooked everything up, and then I had to go make some deliveries. I've been gone for 4 or 5 hours. I came back. I said, normally after it sits, it'll start, because I figure the gas is trickling into the carburetor little by little, and then it'll die. Now it's running and idling. I don't know if you can hear it, but you will be here in a second, or be able to. Oops, I turned it too far the wrong direction. That is just awesome. got fresh gas in it, new battery, new spark plug. I'm going to put her back together here in a little bit. Then I'll change the oil. I think this thing will be ready to sell. I guess all it really needed was a really good carburetor clean. Well, thanks again for watching. Put it back together. I may videotape that later or tomorrow whenever I do it. Otherwise, it's just a reverse of what I did.